Yeah, how's it going, guys? It's Willie Griffin. Here gonna do my informative speech. Man, that's a little good there. Let's see. My informative speech is gonna be on raising kids as a single parent. I'm gonna inform you guys some of the struggles that some single parents go through, what things are out there, and the things that being a single parent can affect on the children and have as a hardship on a family. The things I'm gonna go over is single parenting, raising kid or kids. Parents go single parent. Most of the time goes through poverty. You have self-esteem issues with the children. Trying to identify themselves. They have to fit into a certain era. Then you have your depression, anxiety, stress. Yeah. There's a lot of things that go on with kids. I mean, we're all adults. We're looking at some of these kids now, and you see some of the stuff that they're going through. It's like, man, you're too young to be going through that. Like at your age, you should be living life to the fullest. Should be having fun, worried about what's for lunch at school, things like that. Not these big issues. Um, that's what I'm gonna go ahead and go through. Um, First, what I want to say is, being raised by a single. I personally wasn't raised in a single family household. I have both my parents here, so I honestly couldn't tell you how it is to be raised by a single parent. I was blessed to have both my parents here. Unfortunately, my kids aren't. My kids, all they have is dad. But being raised as a single parent in a household is hard financially. I have two. You have two mouths to feed. Some parents have one kid. Some have two, and it's by themselves working to make sure all the bills are paid. Make sure the rent, the food, they have electricity, the car's paid. You got gas in the car to take the kids to school. Like all these add up as a single parent. Like you have to make that. If you have two kids, that's double almost that stuff. And then you have to provide their needs. They need clothes. They need shoes. Anything like that for school. That's what you're trying to do. Some parents are having to work two jobs just to make ends meet, and it's hard because a parent should be there to raise their kids and not having to work so much to provide for all that. I mean, it's hard with the way the economy is set up. That parents are having to do that. Some people look at single parents and like, oh, you know what, man, he gets child support or she gets child support. That's enough to help him or her provide for the kids and take care of them. Unless you've been there, you don't actually know what that is. Like child support, yeah, it's there to help the child, but you can't really say it's that's what you need to help the child. I personally get $17 a month in child support for two kids. Like $17, I'm gonna get my kids two Happy Meals. Like that don't help. That don't support my kids. As a single father, I struggle, especially raising two little girls. And in the U.S. right now, the U.S. Census Bureau that I pulled up from single parenting, single or impacts of raising a child, and marriage.com. Those two websites I pulled it up. They said right now single parents is on the rise. There's 24 million single parents out there raising one or two children by themselves as a single parent, trying to make ends meet. Economically, it's hard, like for a single parent trying to raise those kids. And with that, with trying to raise those kids, you have other issues that come. And then looking at another site that I was on, it's according to the Annie E. Cassie Foundation. It says in 2016, 32% of single families with children, with one or two children, were living in poverty versus 7% of families that had both parents living there. So when you, so that there says, I mean, single family, single parent household, they're struggling. They're struggling. If you have a double income, both parents there, you have, I'm not saying you have it made, but you have it easier because you've got that extra income. Second, the other one is self esteem. We're gonna bring up the self esteem on the kids. This is a tricky question because with the self esteem, when you're working at home, when you're working, I mean, not at home, when you're working a lot to provide for your kids are at home. If you're working two jobs, you hardly see your kids. Your kids are being at home, being raised by grandma, grandpa, the babysitter, the TV. The kids are there doing that. They're not really, listening to anybody. They don't have that fatherly or that motherly instinct there to raise them. And on one of the other sites that I looked at was marriage.com. They call this media stream syndrome. And what this is where your kids want to watch the media. They look at the society and they see what it is, and they watch TV and little girls, they see the supermodels, they see the cheerleaders, the ballerinas, all those things, the princesses on TV, and they feel like they need to be that to fit into society. When in reality, that's not what they need to be. They need to be healthy, beautiful little girls and just grow up to be independent and have a future. But instead, society's showing them like what you see on TV. That's the way it should be, and these kids want to build up and work to that. And when they don't achieve that goal, then they worry about their image, self-esteem, that they're not at that level where they should be. And then they get bullied at school, they get depressed, they get down where, they have no, I guess you say, no backbone, because they didn't meet what society wanted what society wanted them to be. But things like that, it says there, to fix this or help with that media self-esteem is, one, take your children away from the TV. Try to make more time with your kids. There's a softer ways to approach things like that, to talk to your kids. Yeah, we work hard to be there. Sometimes we can't be there, but cut out the TV for a little bit. Have grandma, grandpa whoever's watching them, follow a routine to get them on there. Tell your kids every day, hey, they're beautiful. Mija, you're beautiful. You're gorgeous. Your sons, you're handsome. You're an outstanding man. The littlest things like that in a baby's mind or a child's mind will make the biggest impact on them, because kids need to hear that. They need that confidence, and they need to be able to build that self-confidence and that self-esteem to know, I am good looking, I am handsome, or I am beautiful. And that's what they need. The littlest thing like that will change it. Will change a kid's outlook on his day or his week, or maybe might even make an impact on his life. Those are the littlest things that we got to do. The other one that I'm going to talk about is depression and anxiety. And this one's it hits me hard. This one does, because I'm a single father of two little girls, and I've been raising them on my own for the past year and a half. And I get stumped with questions when my oldest, my 6-year-old, comes and asks me, why isn't mom here? Why did mom leave us? Why did mom do this? Like, and I tell them, mom just had different plans. Mom wanted to do her own thing. Mama left you guys with daddy. And man, just a look on my kid's face, you can tell they're depressed, because everybody needs their mom. Everybody needs their dad. Well, from my thing. And the fact is, my kids need their mom. They want their mom. And when they don't have their mom, they're depressed. My kids go to the rooms, sometimes they cry because they want their mom. And it says in the impact on another site, the impact of children after divorce and separation, it says that kids tend to be drug addicts, troublemakers, being raised in a single family home. And I look at those facts and the statistics they put on there, and I refuse to take those and say that's going to be my kids. Like, no, it's not. I mean, it's hard, because you never want to see your babies grow up to be anything like that. And I understand it's about how you raise them, but self-esteem and depression and anxiety, I see that a lot, especially the depression of my kids. I mean, yeah, we have fun, we do our things. You can take the kids to go out to the movies, take them to the park. You can do all this stuff with them, get their mind off of that. And it works for a little bit, where they have a good time and they're out of that. But then when they come back to reality, they're depressed, they're hurt, they have their depression. And the ways to help cope with that is, it says in one of the sites that I have on my page, it says that you have to address it. Like, You have to take charge of it. Don't hide it. Don't brush it behind the bush. You got to take it and bring it to light and ask questions. What's going on? Talk to them. Talk to your child in the soft. Be soft and sensitive. Don't come out firm and all that, because you do that, it says it closes them up. It closes them up where they want to hide and they don't want to talk about it. Then they build up a lot of stress and anxiety, and then that's how you have kids on medication, kids on pills, things like that, and that's not something we want. But it says bring it out. Bring it out, try to talk to them, take them to do what they like. Take them to go fishing, bike riding, outdoors, playing. But it's a real thing. I mean, raising kids as a single parent, it's something that we need to know. I mean, a lot of us are already there. Like, we got to do what we can do to make sure we take care of our kids, to make sure we know the signs of their depression, if their anxiety, their stress. Their kids, they should not be stressing about why mom and dad broke up, and that's a lot of the questions these kids ask. I work with a lot of preschool and elementary kids, and some of them are going through single families, and they ask, like, why is my dad not here? Why did my mom and dad break up? Those are questions we can't answer. But the kids blame themselves. It says in some of the reading I was doing, it says that kids see parents together, happy as a marriage, and kids think that's forever. They don't know what divorce, they don't know what separation is until it's brought to them. And then when things like that happen, the first instinct is the kids think it's their fault that the parents are doing this. That causes them to stress over that, like what did they do wrong to cause their parents to break up? Then they go into their depression. You never want to blame the kids. Never talk bad about your spouse to your kids. Never tell anything like that to your kids. Don't try to control them or get them on your side. Your kids are young. They'll develop their own mentality. It says that, and it says never try to control your kids. Your kids are going to see who's there and who's not. They'll develop that in their brain. They will develop that for themselves. There's no need to convince them. But there's a lot of websites you can go to. One of them that we looked at was Cope. It's www.cope families. You go on there, it gives you tips and tricks on how to bond with your kids. Father, daughter, father, son, mother, daughter, how to cope with them, how to talk to them, how to get them out of their slump. There's things to help you if you need help, government help, things like that. I mean, there's help out there, and if you need help, take it. Do it for the kids. The kids need it. Nowadays and age, I mean, stress, anxiety, depression, it's a silent killer. Everybody puts on that face up front that they're all happy, but behind closed doors they're depressed. And then if we don't nip it in the bud now and take care of our kids and figure out what the root of the problem is, we're gonna have bigger problems with our kids. Depression is serious with kids being raised by single parents, and it's worse for kids being raised by single parents. I think that's it. I hope my speech was good. I hope I did it right. I did all my work sightings. I hope so. Hope it's good. Thank you. You have a good one.